It's really crazy how they like push narratives with the algorithm. Like shit that I've never even like looked up before just shows up all over your social media for no reason, and then it's all you see for like the next week.
Yeah, my For You page has actually in the last few months become very respectable, which I'm proud of, but
nah, quite the opposite over here.
one rogue like on a Sydney Sweeney picture and toast.
She's got good genes.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. My name is Reuben, joined here today with Cam, and we are back to review Demon Slayer Infinity Castle Kimetsu no Yaiba. That's the Japanese subtitle or sub name. No, and yeah, we're getting ready to review the part one of a 3-part finale to the Demon Slayer anime series, which has become one of the most popular anime on planet Earth since its release. So I was really looking forward to this movie. But before we get into that, I want to let you guys know that you can listen to this wherever you get your podcasts across all podcasting platforms. And if you want more Nerd Soup, go ahead and check out our Patreon page. Me and Cam actually just reviewed the first 3 episodes of Peacemaker. That was fun. And me, Aaron, and Teddy actually just did season 1 of Better Call Saul. So the return of Teddy, you can only find it on Patreon. Those eventually will come out on the main channel, but for now, we're going to keep them on Patreon. Because, you know, Better Call Saul has been done for quite some time, so we're in no rush to get those out on the main channel. But if you want to hear Teddy ramble and make some good points, some ridiculous points, we thought he was going to be rusty, but no, he was pretty solid. So Cam, you're on the clock here. Teddy's got a mic now.
It's me versus Teddy for the starting spot.
Yeah, everybody was like, calling you New Teddy. I don't know.
Me, Teddy, and Nash are like Jackson Dart, Russell Wilson, and Jameis Winston right now.
Bro, you're gonna walk up to Teddy and be like, "You're a backpack for Beau and Aaron," and he's just gonna punch you like Draymond.
Gotta trade me over to the Wizards.
Screen rant. Get ready to write some clickbait, buddy. All right, yeah, let's get into this. Demon Slayer Infinity Castle. As I said, I was anticipating this so much. I kind of waited for the last season to all come out, and then I watched it because I actually thought the Hashira training arc was going to be longer. I still really enjoyed it, but I did feel a bit underwhelmed by some of the training exercises that Tanjiro did with specific Hashiras. Like, some of them were better than the others. But going into this, just seeing, you know, the full display of power when it comes to the Hashira, you know, top to bottom, after my boy, I'm just going to call him Yashiki, lays the trap for Muzan. And then you see them all converge on that position, and just, they were ready to put the fucking beat down on that man before he pulled the trick of the Infinity Castle. And it's, you know, it's a setting that we've seen throughout the series, but now it's become this elaborate, essentially infinite maze to trap the Demon Slayers and for Muzan to finally finish them off. And this is it, because we see the graveyard at the beginning of the movie, all the members that they've lost. This is really their last chance to do it. So it's a very earned finale, and I think this first part, I almost wanted to log it without a rating because it's so clearly part 1 of a 3-part finale, and there isn't like a core theme really driving this movie as a standalone film, which to me is a flaw, but it's also just an incredible, like, 5 to 6 consecutive episodes of Demon Slayer all crammed into one. And all the episodes individually are really good. Like, all of these individual fights that we see in this part 1 are excellent. And it ends off with arguably the best fight that they've done so far, in a rematch that, you know, we've all seen coming and we've long been anticipating. In terms of just sitting in a theater and enjoying some of the best animation and some of the best fight choreography we've ever seen in animation, it's a 10 out of 10. And I do think that the pacing is a little off with the flashbacks, the way that they're, you know, placed in between some of these fights. I thought maybe they could have extended some of the fights and then extended some of those flashbacks, like just kind of mix and match those scenes a little bit better. But overall, I thought it was thrilling. It was everything that I expected and more.
Yeah, so I was personally kind of out on Demon Slayer before coming into this movie.
Oh, wow.
I loved Demon Slayer season 1 and especially season 2. I thought season 2 the entertainment district had the best fight in the whole series. Season 3, the Swordsmith Village, and then the Hashira training arc, they kind of lost me a little bit because I felt like I was watching them week to week, so they kind of dragged on, you know? I didn't wait for it all to come out at the end, which is what I did for the first 2 seasons. So the pacing did feel bad, and honestly, the only part I really liked of last season was the last episode where they are all jumping into the castle, and the anticipation kind of is what kept me going here. And I knew the fights would be good. I knew everything would most likely live up to the hype, but it exceeded my expectations. I didn't really have much expectations going into it, but when the week of like last week, when the movie was being talked about and people were saying how good it was, I was like, oh, I got to go see this right now. So I ended up going to the theater at 3:00 right after work, and it was honestly one of my favorite theater experiences of the year, which sounds crazy to say, but I just had such a fun time throughout the whole film. And I agree with basically everything you said. It's a great anime movie is what I'll say. It's a good movie, but it's a great anime movie, maybe one of the best I've ever seen. It really got me excited for the next 2 movies going forward. Kind of made me want to read the manga, but I think I'm going to hold out and just wait for the spectacle on the screen, you know?
Yeah, dude. 2-year wait is brutal, but I don't think I'm going to read it because I kind of regret doing that with Attack on Titan because it's not the same. I think it's different if you've read it first and that's your first experience of the story. But when I go from anime to the manga, it just never hits quite the same. You know, because the mediums are different. When it comes to reading, it's really hard, especially with manga. It's hard for me to really just enjoy the panels and not speed read it because I want to know how it ends.
Yeah, exactly. I for One Piece, I enjoy the manga more actually, just because I kind of sit there looking at all the like, I don't know. It's easy to skip over manga panels, like you're saying, just because you're trying to speed read it, see what happens. But for One Piece, the scale is so grand sometimes of like the artwork they're doing that I just find myself sitting there and staring at it for forever. Whereas in the anime, I feel like I'm speed running through it. But for
That's interesting.
Demon Slayer, I feel like that's a show for me that's, I wouldn't say carried at this point after the movie, but kind of carried by the animation, you know? Obviously, the story keeps you around, and I am excited to see where it goes from here, like how the last arc ends, but the animation and the fights are kind of the biggest part of the show for me. So I feel like if I read the manga, it would kind of take away from that a little bit, you know?
Oh yeah, no, I'm right with you, dude. Especially because Demon Slayer, like the way that the powers are set up, it's all so predicated on movement. It's like wind and water and the elements and speed, and it's just such a beautiful dance when these characters do finally confront each other. And the way that it's animated, I'm sure it looks great written on the panels as well. But when you're seeing this in actual motion, there's nothing quite like it, I think, in anime. I mean, there have been plenty of anime with incredible animation and incredible fight sequences, but this movie in particular makes the argument that it's never been done better because this was just an absolute spectacle. I think that's some of the criticisms Mugen Train got, where it was a great story, it was a great movie. The animation was kind of just the same as it is on television. And that's also a credit to how well they animate the show. But this one feels like a step up. Like when you go and watch the Rugrats and then you see the Rugrats movie and all the frames are just way smoother and there's more color, there's more detail, there's more depth. This was an experience unlike anything I've ever had when it comes to just the pure level of creativity on display. You know, all the colors, all the action sequences. It was great. And just to make a couple of points on Demon Slayer, because we've never really talked about it on this channel. I love the way they visualize the fight styles. That, the water Hashira, he's not actually creating water, but it's showing you the path. It's showing you the full breadth of what he's doing and what the attack entails. And I've always loved that, the way that they've played with all the different techniques and the water breathing and the different forms.
That is what makes the show great. That little aspect right there that I don't know if that's in the manga. I assume it is, but the fact that you see it on the screen makes it like so much better. I remember the first time seeing Tanjiro use that like the water breathing, and he goes into a little bit of his Hinokami Kagura against Rui in season 1. And I was like, wow, this is like an epic moment here. This is like something I've never seen before. The animation, I was sitting there in awe throughout the whole movie. Like I was just staring at the screen like, what was the budget for this? Because it seems like they just got a blank check and were told, yeah, do whatever you can to make this like as good as it can be.
Dude, $20 million budget, and it's becoming one of the highest grossing Japanese films this year. And it just had the biggest domestic weekend in the States for an anime movie. Yeah,
that's insane. Who held the record before that? Probably Demon Slayer, right? It was either that or like Pokemon, maybe?
Pokemon like 30 years ago. Yeah, something like that.
So that is not an easy feat there to beat. Pokemon's one of the biggest like properties worldwide, I feel like, right? It's got to be like top 3, top 5. So
huge
to
IP.
Be in the same conversation as that is amazing for Demon Slayer. I mean, a couple years ago when I was watching that first season, I knew it was going to be big, but I never could expect how big it would get, you know? It seems like something that's crossed over to adults, kids, non-anime fans, and then like your hardcore anime fan as well.
Yeah, and I think that it's, you know, some people, when I see the debates about Demon Slayer, I think that the appeal is that there's a simplicity there and there's a wholesomeness and an earnestness where it does come down to a fight of good versus evil, even though there is some gray and there's some complexities, especially when they get into the backstory of the demons. And obviously there are other themes as well, like, you know, the importance of family and perseverance. That's why I found Mugen Train to be so inspiring, where Tanjiro had done so much and he realizes that there's still so much to learn about being a demon slayer.
Yeah, there's levels to this.
100%. That was just basically the message of that movie. And then watching Infinity Castle, you know, going into it on a Thursday night with a nearly packed theater in IMAX where everybody's locked in, and watching a movie is always a communal experience. I think that's part of the beauty of going to see a movie in theaters. But when you're in a packed theater with fans who are so locked in and so passionate about these characters and about this story, where they react to everything. Like when Zenitsu's going up against his, basically like his big brother, who's now, you know, an upper rank, and he dodges him and he says, "Too slow, scum." My theater like went crazy. Just a moment like that, a simple moment like that, where Zenitsu shows, you know, I've come a long way. I've got this speed. You're going to have to be quicker than that. And the crowd pops, you know, and it was just throughout the movie, there were so many tiny little moments where the crowd is so locked in. It's like when at a Knick game, when somebody dives on a ball and the crowd goes crazy, you know, it's like you're watching it with all these strangers who are your friends for 2.5 hours because you're all on the same page and you're all having such a good time.
Exactly. I'm not trying to glaze this movie too much, but it's going to sound like I am. But everything about it was just so good for me. Like the voice acting, I saw it in sub. I don't know about you, but
yeah, I did too. Yeah,
the part where he yells to Akaza when Akaza first shows up, like the passion in the people's voices and in everything. It seems like the passion in the project as a whole. Like these people actually care about this series, and it wasn't my biggest concern going into this was that, oh, it's just a cash grab. They realize they can make a lot of money by making a movie. It really seemed like this had to be a movie, like a 3-part movie here. Because while these moments may have hit the small screen on Crunchyroll, on wherever you watch, the fact that you get that whole experience in the theater with everybody, like you said, made it that much better. Like,
100%, dude.
Could I get into spoilers here?
Yeah, let's get into spoilers.
All right, so Zenitsu is fighting the guy. I forget his name. Starts with a K. His op, you know?
Yeah, the Kaigaku.
Kaigaku, there we go. And so the moment Zenitsu cuts off his head, I told you a little bit about this, but the screen like flashes. He uses his thunder breathing 7th form, I believe, and everybody goes crazy. And the second that happens, the fire alarm goes off in my theater. The screen pauses, the lights start flashing, and the fire alarm goes off. I know it's like at the time it was a burden, but like looking back, like that's an experience that like was insane for me, like being in the theater, because Zenitsu, like it literally felt like Zenitsu broke the world for a second.
Yeah, he broke the 4th wall.
Yeah, and we had like a 30-minute break where everybody is now standing outside of the theater, hundreds of people, and we're like, "Yo, did that really just happen? That was crazy." And then we come back in and we sit down. and his head hasn't even hit the ground yet. He's not even fully dead. It was just, it was a great experience overall. One, like I said, one of the more fun experiences I've had in the theater this year.
That is actually, the timing of that is so perfect. Because that actually happened to me when I saw Neja, the Chinese action animated movie, and the theater just cut out, or no, the reel stopped playing at like the worst moment. It wasn't even a cool moment where they stopped playing, and the movie didn't even finish. They just sent us all home with vouchers, which I lost. But you having that experience where as soon as he cuts it off and the lights go off in your theater, dude, that's like some Beyonce at the Super Bowl shit. Just lights out for Zenitsu.
I was wondering, all I was thinking was like, what team were other people on when this cut off? Like in the other theaters, like I'm like, this was like to the second, the perfect moment for this to cut off. It was kind of crazy. But yeah, dude. I thought, if we're getting into spoilers and stuff here, the start of the movie picks up right where the last episode left off. I liked how we got Guillaume's little talk with the master right before they hop in. So you see the plan, you see how everything was supposed to go down, and then we instantly start with them falling into the castle, and you really start to realize, damn, this place is like, it's really infinite, you know?
Yeah,
it's not like they weren't joking when they said infinite castle. The stakes instantly are as high as they could be, because right away we get people like Shinobu going against Doma. We get people getting attacked by demons the second Tanjiro lands. You don't know how people are going to land. You're falling out of the sky. If you hit the ground, you're done for. They built the tension and the stakes right away, which I really appreciated, because it set the tone for the movie going forward.
Oh yeah, dude. And like, there's so many things to get to, but yeah, starting it with, I mean, the Infinity Castle is like the biggest, most ambitious haunted house we've ever seen put on screen. And when somebody has control of a house, when a house is a living organism and it's evil, it's always so terrifying. So you just never know what's going to happen with these characters. It's not just them fighting the demons, but it's also them fighting against this fucking castle. So teaming up Tanjiro and Giyu, you know, that's where the story started, when he's going to kill Nezuko and Tanjiro's begging for his sister's life. And they even, I think that's in this movie, right? When they talk about Tanjiro and Nezuko's arrival is what really got the cogs moving in this machine. So pairing them together as basically the two water Hashiras, even though Tanjiro is looking more like Rengoku's replacement these days, was great, because they have the history, and Giyu is a character who doesn't know how quite strong he is. Even when Tanjiro is kind of struggling there at the beginning with Akaza, and Giyu comes in and he's able to spar with him, eventually he does get tired. Because I love that detail too, that no matter how strong the Hashira are, the upper ranks are always going to be a little bit stronger. They're always going to be able to adapt to these situations. But yeah, that was a great pairing.
A couple of them to take them down. Like I was wondering that same thing. I was like, could like Giyu just take him down by himself? But no, there's no shot. These upper rank demons are just on a whole nother level.
Yeah, and then, you know, since we are in spoilers, it is Akaza who chooses to kill himself. Who knows if they probably would have been able to take him out if he didn't do that. I mean, him growing the head back and then going through all those flashbacks, which that was a movie in itself. The story of Akaza, the journey of losing his father and then falling into the life of crime, and that was also because of his father being sick, having to steal food, and then his relationship with his wife and her father, them taking him in and giving him this second chance at life, and then because of jealousy and envy, they're poisoned and killed. It's just the devastation, the trauma of that character. When they started hinting at it, when the dojo master first appears behind him, I thought maybe the route they were going to go was Akaza flips on the demons and joins the demon slayers, like he was going to team up with them. But the idea of him, you know, sacrificing himself there at the end and just basically killing himself so he can finally be at peace was incredibly moving. And like I said, that flashback sequence, some people were saying they got bored with it. I didn't at all. And I think that, yeah, there are some problems with pacing where the story just comes to a screeching halt. But by the time you're like 5 to 10 minutes into whatever that flashback is, I've totally forgotten about the action. I'm more concerned about what this young Akaza as a human is going through. And is he going to be able to, get back on his feet and live a normal life with this, with this individual who loves him and with a new father figure. So I thought that flashback was some of the best storytelling that they've ever done. Taking a character who has never fought with weapons, has always fought with his hands, and he's taken so many lives with his bare hands. And we see in the backstory the other side of that those hands used to be for caregiving, for taking care of his father, for taking care of his wife. That's something that can be used to care for somebody and protect them, can also be used as weapons. And then the fight, of course, was incredible too.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Akaza seems to be, I don't know, probably the best villain in the entire show so far, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Just his impact on everybody overall, with him being in Mugen Train and then seeing his story here, I thought it was very good. I was one of those people who thought that it was a little too long, like maybe 5 minutes shorter. But him, I feel like you needed that to get the emotional weight of why he's punching air and seeing hallucinations, or why he eventually offs himself, Usually, one of my big gripes with Demon Slayer is that I feel like they do. I mean, every villain is going to get a sad backstory, usually. Like, I don't know if there's been a villain who hasn't got a backstory. But in this film, I felt like they made all the backstories very good. Like, even Doma's backstory so far. Like, dude was supposed to be basically their version of Jesus in this little church that he had. And then he is so messed up because he's seeing people's trauma his entire life. And these people are coming to him, a child, trying to ask for advice. And he's like, dang, all these people are suffering. Let me take them out of suffering and make them one with me, make them live on inside of me, which he's obviously a psychopath, but it kind of makes you, every backstory in this movie makes you understand why these people are in the situation they're in. It's not that they're just blood hungry trying to kill people, demons. They have legitimate reasoning, and you feel bad for all of them in the end of it. You always make a connection with them where they are just as human as our heroes who we're following throughout the film, and our heroes could have easily ended up in these similar situations as them.
Oh yeah, totally, dude. And I think like a character like Nezuko is a perfect example of, if she didn't have Tanjiro standing up for her, she probably would have been killed. But if Giyu wasn't there and she becomes a demon, she loses her mind, she sees that her family's been slaughtered, and she just embraces the life of a demon. Like, she could have been in a couple hundred years running around as an upper rank. And a character like Doma, as you said, he was basically the Messiah, and he was so hyper intelligent that eventually he just becomes numb to all the suffering that he's been exposed to, and comes to this, horrific conclusion that I can just put them out of their misery. That's what he keeps telling Shinobu, that you fought valiantly, let me put you out of your misery. Same thing for the person that she walks in on him eating. I'm taking away her suffering. She was screaming in pain, now she's dead. And when a character has that motivation and has that philosophy, and he's doing it with a smile on his face, it just makes him so creepy, because he's enjoying it. He's having a good time. He thinks that he's righteous, and it's also fun. That's a very scary combination. And then with Shinobu, we were a bit more familiar with her backstory, the story with her sister, losing her sister. That fight was, it was awesome. And, at first you're thinking, okay, what is she going to be able to do? Because she's like 9th or 10th when it comes to the Hashira. She's going up against number 2. That's quite a mismatch.
Yeah, she's a low seed there. Like, she's just trying not to get swept.
Trying not to get swept, trying to avoid those direct hits, and him using the ice magic to essentially freeze her lungs, and the realization that the poison isn't working. It's just getting worse and worse. And I thought that I thought for a long time she was still, well, not for a long time, but after the movie, I was like, maybe she's still alive. Maybe she's going to reveal that she's like inside of him, just poisoning his entire body. It's going to take a really long time, but that's not probably happening.
No, she's cooked.
Yeah. I think she got cooked.
I don't know how to say her name. Kanao. I always forget.
That's her protege.
Yeah. She's going to get clapped, bro. How is she already not dead? Like, somebody's got to pull up, whether it be Inosuke, but even like her and Inosuke aren't going to be able to handle him. So they need they need heads, because she's out there by herself right now. I don't see how she's going to be able to even touch Doma, considering how strong he looked against Shinobu.
I do wonder if maybe it's Domu absorbing Shinobu. She's dead, but maybe she did do something to her body that will severely weaken him, so he's not as strong as he was against her.
True.
When the apprentice fights him.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she's going to get help from somewhere, because that's what I'm really excited for too, is the team ups. Because we have Guillaume running around with Tokito or Moichiro, yeah. And that's I can't wait to see them too. And it's so funny, Guillaume is like the only adult of the Hashira, so he just fucking towers over them. So watching him run next to the Mist Hashira is just the difference in size is so funny.
I assume those two are going to go and team up to fight the upper
dog
one.
Yeah.
He, and obviously, like, I don't know anything. I don't have any spoilers or anything, but he's got to have something to do with Tanjiro's family.
Oh,
right?
100%. He's got to be a relative.
The dude who made, how in the Swordsmith Village arc there was the machine. I think he's got to be like who that was based off of. I don't 100%, know. Maybe he's the guy who made the sun breathing. I don't know, but he's 100% got some type of connection to them, which makes you wonder, why would that dude become a demon? But we'll see, I guess. What I was gonna say is, I don't know if you picked up on this, but Kaigaku, the kid, or the demon, Upper Moon 6, he was the same kid who sold out all of Guillaume's people. Like, he's the same kid who brought back the demon to Guillaume's like dojo and killed all the kids. He was one of the orphans that Guillaume was watching. So he brought back. I picked up on that. I was like, is this true? And then I looked it up after, and it was. Because I was like, he looks like the same person. I didn't know if they were just being cheap with like animation, but no, he is the same kid who Guillaume kickstarted into the Demon Slayer Corps too, as well. So that's crazy. I wonder if, I wish we would have got some acknowledgement of that in some type of way, but maybe we will with Zenitsu or something in the next film or two.
Yeah, that's interesting that he's no longer in the story and that wasn't mentioned. But yeah, maybe I guess we could get something with Zenitsu. And that was kind of a character that I totally forgot about even coming into this. So when they were like, oh, he's the upper six now, and we used to train together, I was just like, yeah, sure, I guess.
yeah, exactly. That moment though was so epic for Zenitsu. I mean, he's one of my favorite characters, and one of my biggest like compliments on this movie was that Zenitsu was locked in the whole time. Demon Slayer, I understand it's for children at the same time, but like, there's a lot of moments throughout the show where they're doing like the typical anime tropes where people are Zenitsu simping for Nezuko, or like they're being little kids in whatever sense. But in this movie, that's what helped build the stakes so much, is that at all times, everybody seems to be locked in for 2.5 hours. Like, nobody's goofing around. Everybody's like, damn, we got a mission to complete here. And if we don't complete this mission, everybody's cooked. Like, when the crow first shows up and says Shinobu died, like, you see in Tanjiro's face and Giyu, they're like, oh shit, like, this is real. We got to lock in, or else if she just died, any of us could die. So we got to go get our lick back.
Dude, that was chilling, because you're still running for your life. You still have so much ahead of you, and to get the news that Shinobu died, especially for Tanjiro, because they were super close.
Yeah, that's the first or second Hashiro he meets, right? It's Giyu, right. And then she helps him against Rui.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and she takes him under her wing a bit, and I think she even shares her backstory with Tanjiro. And her character was, I always loved her character, because the idea of taking on the personality of your older sister when you were always so grumpy and miserable, but now you want to be that optimist for the next generation, for the people that you're training. So that one really hurt. But the Zenitsu, like you said, there was no chibi style animation. And I do love when a show knows when it's time to get serious. It's like when the Avengers did Thanos. He's not going to be cracking jokes like Ultron. He's here to cause havoc. And that's, the stakes are super high, so the characters should be a bit more serious, and there shouldn't be as much time for humor. And then we got it sometimes, like with the medic who was helping out Zenitsu, and he keeps being really blunt about his diagnosis.
Yeah.
That was
I'm
funny.
good with a side character like that doing it, rather than like the main characters who have to be like at this point we've seen growth throughout the whole show. Now's the time to show your growth and be like, all right, I'm Hashira level. I need to act like one, you know?
Right, and it's so earned too all around, because when we first, that's one of my favorite moments in Demon Slayer, when Zenitsu reveals his power and he has that personality switch where it's almost dual personalities. He becomes somebody else when he locks in, and then in normal times he's just the whiny, complainy, horny Zenitsu. But like you said, throughout this movie, throughout that fight, he's locked in. He doesn't have any change in his demeanor, and he does the seventh form of breathing. You know, he pulls a little okie doke on him. And that's a great matchup, too. The guy who, you know, the master of one move versus the jack of all trades. Who's going to win? Kind of reminds me of Rock Lee and Naruto. Like, I can only do this style of fighting, but I'm the fucking best at it. And I'm going to kick the shit out of you because of it.
That's a great comparison. Yeah. Yeah, it was so good, dude. I thought that part was amazing. That's like probably the first hour of the movie. And I don't remember I think that Doma had defeated Shinobu before then, but up on like once I got to that part where Zenitsu cut him off, and I was like, oh shit, we still got an hour and a half left in this movie. I was like, this is gonna be a banger, like for sure.
Yeah, I keep using the word earned because I think back on Mugen Train, and that realization for Tanjiro after putting in so much work up until that point and realizing I can't even see the Hashira and the upper rank demon fight because they're moving so fast. He's just on his knees like, how am I ever going to do this? How am I ever going to compete with this? And I had the same exact thought. How the hell is Tanjiro ever going to do this? And you see all the grind, the training, the taking the different steps, taking the leaps forward to get to this point, and Giyu having that realization of, you're as strong as a Hashira, and you're so powerful that we can, you know, mix match our moves so that, and you know, keeping Giyu a little bit stronger than Tanjiro, where he's able to anticipate what Tanjiro's doing, and he can adapt to that with the perfect move. But it's incredibly satisfying to see where Tanjiro and the main characters were, like Zenitsu and Inosuke, and seeing how strong they've become. You know, it's there were no shortcuts getting to this point. Well, we also saw the Giyu unlocking his mark. That was the first time we've seen that.
Giyu unlocking his mark. I was wondering the same thing when Shinobu was fighting, actually. I was like, we just spent a whole arc talking about getting these marks. You got to get this mark, or else you're kind of cooked here, bro. Like, it seems like a prerequisite to beating them.
Yeah, and even that, you can't, like, fucking Giyu was tired even after the mark. Like, he went hard for about like 5 minutes until he was exhausted again, and then he needed Tanjiro to get back up. But don't you need to be in the vicinity of Tanjiro, right, for the mark to appear?
No, I think you just have to be...
Oh, you just have to be that nice?
Yeah, you have to be totally like concentrated and in a near-death experience, because in the Swordsmith Village, they were talking about times where everybody else had gotten it, and I'm pretty sure that's... you just have to be like near death, kind of, or like just completely locked in. And in Giyu's case, you need somebody to break your back, I guess. Zenitsu walking around, like just walking casually and then being like, all right, come out. I know you're around here somewhere. That was badass. Where he was like, all right, bro, we need to get this once. Pull up right now. And if you don't, you're pussy. That was my favorite part.
He was sniffing him out. He's like, I can smell him.
I was like, oh shit.
I found you, pussy. Yeah, no, he's become such a gangster, dude. And
the aura is just...
Oh man, the fucking lightning powers really cut off the power in your theater. That's crazy,
bro. I couldn't believe it. I was like, yo, did he really just like? It felt scripted, like that. The deep state had done something to make that happen. Everybody was talking about it on the way out. It was fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's like the best experience you can have of your theater losing power, because that's happened to me quite a few times, honestly. Always ends with me getting a voucher and not finishing the movie.
So I have Movie Pass, so I was like, do I just leave? But then I literally walked to my car and got in my car, and then I was like, you know what? Let me give it 5 more minutes, because I had been waiting like 30 minutes, and then they let us back in. So I was very happy that I stayed.
That is absolutely clutch.
Yeah, it was. It was worth it for sure. I definitely want to go see this movie again, though. I might go see it in dub this time just to like appreciate the animation more, because I feel like I was reading a lot of subtitles, obviously, and stuff. I still appreciated it, but I just want to sit there and mindlessly just watch cool fight on screen, you know?
That's actually a good point for going to see it in the dub.
Yeah, you could just sit there and just the whole time you're not focused on anything besides the animation, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I think about that all the time. Some of the shit I might be missing. Like the other day I missed something in Apothecary because it was so quick. And it wasn't even characters talking, but you're just kind of anticipating the subtitles. Like you're looking down on the screen.
Yeah,
like you're going to read something. And I had to rewind. No, that's not a terrible idea.
Yeah. Do you think this movie breaks $1 billion worldwide or no?
I don't think it's going to
mil.
Yeah, it's at 400 million now, made 70 million at the US box office. I think that Mugen Train was about 500. I think it probably settles. Yeah, it probably settles around there.
I guess that for anime movies, first weekend is like obviously for every movie, but for these it's way higher than every other week.
Yeah, and I think it's I don't know where else it might be coming out. I want to see if it has any markets still coming up. So it opens it just opened wide, including the United States. It opened in like 15 other countries. And it looks like it's only got Belgium, France, some parts of Africa, Luxembourg, Switzerland, Austria, Germany, Moldova, Switzerland left. Yeah, so I think 600 is dude, off of a $20 million budget. There was a report recently that Japan is going to heavily invest in their anime business because they've realized we have a fucking gold mine. Like we ship this shit overseas and the profits that we're making are unbelievable. It is such a thriving and vibrant market right now, and profitable.
I mean, it's not to the same level, but this is like the movie felt like, and it also is performing like an Infinity War. This is like the climax of a huge series. I if I'm Japan, I'm like, why wouldn't I do this for every anime going forward?
Right, and to your point, like, yeah, it would have been cool seeing this on Crunchyroll. Maybe if they just released the full thing. But I've always wanted Game of Thrones to do the movie finale. I feel like if you're a big epic show, you should go for it. You should trust that you have enough audience and that your marketing team is going to be able to get people out into the theaters and that you're going to make a lot of money off of it. And to your point about it being similar to Infinity War, relative to budget, the budget for Infinity War is like $500 million. So them making $3 billion is comparative to making $600 off of a $20 million budget. It's actually, based on percentages, more profitable.
Better. Yeah.
So
I can
it's not off.
see them doing this for like Jujutsu Kaisen or whatever may come out. I saw Chainsaw Man is having a movie come out as well.
Yeah, saw that.
Like I could only imagine what would happen if they did like One Piece finale.
Oh, they should.
Like, dude, that would make stupid money.
3-hour One Piece finale?
Yeah. Have you seen these people in Nepal? Not to get sidetracked, but have you seen this?
Yeah.
They're using the One Piece flag as like the liberation flag over there right now.
That's crazy.
Using the straw hat flag, dude, it's all over. They literally hung it on the Parliament building while it's like burning down. And then they voted on Discord for their next leader.
One Piece has become, specifically the Luffy's flag has become like a revolutionary symbol around the world.
Yeah, bro, it's crazy. I mean, that's what he stands for. It's kind of crazy the motion he has.
Well, I wanted to ask you too. What did you think about the whole transparent state with Tanjiro?
Oh, I thought that was cool, dude.
Yeah, I like that
because so the night before seeing the movie was the the Terrence Crawford versus Canelo fight. So I'm sitting there watching that, and then I'm watching. They're talking about the transparent state. And I'm like, wow, that's like when you go into like the flow state in like a fight or something. I'm like, this is how Terrence Crawford must have been feeling dodging these punches, doing all this stuff last night. I thought that was a good way to make Tanjiro level up without having to make him train more, for him to remember this moment with his father that happened when he was doing the Hinokami dance. It seemed like a natural way for them to make Tanjiro stronger without making up some bullshit, because I hate when in animes there's like an ass pull where they're like, oh, for some reason now this guy's 10 times stronger. It's like, no, he just remembered something and actually like utilized a thing that he didn't think would matter at the time, but now looking back is probably the most important thing of being a demon slayer, is doing that.
Right, and I think it feeds into the idea of, so much about Demon Slayer is hatred and redemption, and being able to tell when your enemy wants to kill you. What's the way to counter that? It's to have no feelings whatsoever. It's to have complete ego death, essentially.
Yeah, have a clear mind. And then just, it also reminded me of a little bit of Bruce Lee, like being like water.
Just becoming pure instinct.
Yeah, exactly. On the same point there, what did you think of like Akaza having the fighting spirit honing attacks? I thought that was pretty interesting too, because I was wondering the whole time, what could Akaza's power be? Why does he have the snowflake on the ground? But it's because he hones in on fighting spirit, which was a cool little.
Yeah, I like that too, because similar with Inosuke, where Inosuke was raised by the elements, so it sort of makes sense that he would have it. And I think with Akaza, he fights with his hands. He's one of the few characters in the show that doesn't have a weapon. It's just knuckles. So he's been fighting that way his entire life. So this idea that he would have this almost sixth sense of being able to tell when somebody wants to kill him, it fits his character. And it does feel a little supernatural as well, which makes sense. He is a demon. So yeah, I think it does fit his character. And it's a way to, just make him, and like you said, leveling up without training, because they're giving him everything they got and it's still not enough. And they realize, okay, it's because he has this sixth sense. How do we counter that? And Tanjiro figures it out through that great flashback with his father, and that he was able to take out that bear because, he was just totally locked in. He was in the transparent world. Like you said, it literally is the flow state. So I think that was a cool new element that they added. And who knows how much they're going to come back to that, because it looks like, with Doma, he's just such a problem on its own. With the way he wields the demon blood magic. And then Kokoshibu, he just looks like a classic, I got my katana, I'm gonna slice and dice you up, motherfucker. I can't imagine what he's got up his sleeves. That's gonna be incredible, dude.
Yeah, in the next movie, people gotta die. Like, I know we just had people die. I'm not saying people aren't dying, but like, fighting him, people are gonna get clapped. It's gonna be, I assume Guillaume and Muichiro are gonna fight him, but they're gonna need like, those are top two dogs in my opinion right now in the squad, but they probably need more people than that.
Well, dude, what's the fucking name of the Hashira who's never fought an upper rank? He's the Wind Hashira, right?
Sanemi.
Yeah. I can't wait to see him fight, dude. Like, I would love for like the top two Demon Slayers, because apparently he's number 2 behind Guillaume.
Yeah.
I would love to see them two team up on somebody.
Yeah, his brother's still around too. We didn't see the Love Hashira do anything, right? She didn't do anything?
No.
Yeah, so maybe she's with, I forget who she's with, but maybe they pull up on Doma to help what's-her-face out, because Doma seems to have a thing where he hates women. So
okay, interesting.
Maybe she helps out fight Doma over there. Maybe Sanemi, Muichiro, and Guillaume fight Kokushibo. Is that his name or whatever?
Yeah.
But then, like, I don't know. It's not a complaint, but do you think Tanjiro and Zenitsu and Giyu even do anything next movie? Because they got clapped. I mean,
I wouldn't hate that if, like, if the next movie is a 2.5 hour fucking spectacle again, and they're just going to focus on the characters that didn't get to fight in this one, I wouldn't mind that at all. And then you kind of pick back up with the main 3, maybe in the last 30. Like, they've gotten some rest, they're recharged, they've been patched up, and we get like a preview of what their fights are going to be going into the next one. Because I imagine we're going to get some Inosuke in this next one.
Yeah, for sure. He has to help somebody out too. Maybe he goes and helps them fight Doma as well. It would be a little weird if Tanjiro doesn't fight Upper One, right? Because considering their seeming connection, they seem to be related in some type of way. So it'd be kind of weird if he didn't fight him. But I don't Like with the injuries he currently has, I can't see him going in there and not dying.
I think how they'll do it is because they gave us that great scene after Akaza dies where Kokushibu's like, what a waste. That guy was such a wimp. Can't believe I made him into a demon. He killed himself. He seems like, regardless of what his backstory is, he doesn't give a fuck anymore. He's like as evil as Muzan is. So I think maybe they'll give us a preview where he's not defeated in this next movie, but he kills a couple of the Hashira, and they beat him down to a pulp, but he's still not dead because he's so strong. And then Tanjiro has to sort of finish the job there because there's clearly a family connection between the two of them. They look exactly alike.
Yeah. Also, I mean, two things. One, how the fuck are they ever going to find Muzan? Because it's an infinite castle, guys. This dude is in Nam right now. He's deep. And two, what is Nezuko going to do? She's got to do something in this last arc, right? So how does she has to get there somehow.
Eventually, the fight is going to move out of the castle and Muzan's going to take the fight to Nezuko. Because that's the end game for him. He needs to consume her.
True. And
or,
I guess
if he traps her.
If they kill upper rank 4, right? 4 still alive?
Yes.
The one who's playing like the little guitar thing. If they kill him or her, I assume the castle probably just disappears, right?
Right. So that could be a way where they get Muzan back into the real world. And from there, he tries to attack Nezuko. But I'm also anticipating, some of my favorite scenes of the show is when Nezuko fights.
Yeah.
She seems to be as powerful as anybody that the show has given us so far. Like, we haven't seen what her true power is yet because she's constantly leveling up and adapting to the situation. So I don't want her to just be sort of a MacGuffin because she's been such a strong character on her own and a great fighter. And I do hope that they give us something with Nezuko possibly putting the paws on Muzan, like, fuck you. I'm not going to let you eat me. I'm going to beat the crap out of you.
Yeah, they definitely alluded to some stuff that like is going to have to pay off. Like they said, oh, Nezuko is trying to become a human. She's probably not going to become a human before the battle's over, right? Because there has to be that aspect of Muzan needs something. They also said to Guillaume that Muzan probably won't be able to be killed unless he's in the sun. So yeah, you're right. They do have to go outside, right?
Yeah, eventually.
If he has to be killed in the sun. There's no sun in the castle. So yeah, the final battle will probably take place at wherever Nezuko's at, I guess.
Yeah, and it's like Muzan thinks he's buying himself time with the castle, but the plan was always fight him for like 8 hours straight until the sun comes up. So if you can manage to take out all of his upper ranks, and if you take out upper rank 4, and the castle, I don't know, disappears, collapses in on itself, whatever it is. You take the fight to the real world and you see what they're going to have to do. Good storytelling tells us that it's going to come down to Tanjiro, Nezuko, with some help from Zenitsu and Inosuke. So I do hope Nezuko will fight again, and I do think she will.
Yeah, I do too. I hope that Muzan isn't a fraud. Like, not a fraud, but I hope that, like, do you think Muzan will be stronger than Kokushibo?
That happens so much, right? Where we see all the underlings are always so strong, and then you get to the final boss, and he's strong, but it's just underwhelming.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if Kokushibo might stay alive for that all too, and he's defending Muzan, and they eventually kill Muzan, and then, like they said, all the other demons die because of that. Because this dude seems like so hyped up to the point where, like, how could Muzan be stronger than him, Yeah,
I keep thinking that too, dude, because even like when we saw the upper 6 twins that Tenjin loses his arm against, I was like, yo, these guys are so fucking powerful. Like, how are there 5 more demons that are stronger than them? I can't wrap my head around it. So I think that could be something that underwhelms when Muzan does finally fight, because that sometimes does happen. But you know who I loved too? We can wrap it up here, but I wanted to mention the new children.
Oh yeah.
Ubu Yashiki's remaining kids, they were awesome, especially the son.
Yeah, he was like, it's crazy because he really is like 10 years old, it looks like, but he took the reins of the family. He became the man of the house instantly. He's like, yo, we're not crying. We got to lock in. You can cry when we're done.
Yo, he was on some Bran Stark shit.
Yeah, I loved it because it seems like they're the ones who are going to be the ones who crack the code of where Muzan is, obviously, and how to defeat him. So, and they just went through insane trauma. Their dad just got clapped in front of them, you know?
Yeah, and their two sisters, their fucking mom.
Yeah, their mom. Yeah, their whole family is done. And they have to stay strong through this and hold it down. So
that was actually one of the most gangster parts about that last episode of season 4, when Muzan's slowly realizing, oh my god, this guy's about to kill himself and his entire family. What have I done? Maybe I've underestimated this psychopath. And then it's revealed that he's got 3 more kids. So yeah, the theme of sacrifice too just hits so hard. Like, it was so devastating to see Yubu Yashiki and his family die that way, but to see the remaining children carrying on that legacy, it's so inspiring, and they were great.
Oh, one last thing. Kind of helps with your little theory that Shinobu inside of him is helping defeat Doma. She gave that little like middle finger at the end, right, when she was dying.
Oh yeah, right.
So maybe that is the case there.
Yeah, because he was like, "Oh, she signaled you to run away because you're not strong enough." But that felt like that felt like this is the plan. Trust the plan.
Yeah.
Because you can't have that moment where her sister's like, I know you can do this, and then she fucking dies. There's got to be something she did, bro.
Yeah. She had to have contributed somehow to the death.
Yeah.
Of him.
And it's interesting because isn't Inosuke, he's immune to poison, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because he's just out there. Bro, he's just built different.
No, he is.
And I like Inosuke, but I kind of liked how he wasn't in this a little bit, because like he definitely brings a different element to the show, and I think with all the characters like the love Hashira and stuff like that we're going to see in the next film, that he would fit better in that, where this has a more serious tone, the next one may have a more serious tone as well, but also with more comedic relief, I think.
Yeah, I think that's actually a great point. His personality does fit those other characters better than the characters they focused on in this one, because like you said with Zenitsu, the personality change is great because the stakes are high and it's a serious situation. But in Inosuke, his personality never changes, and it's just he's a really intense character, but it can come off as silly. And I love Inosuke, but I think you made a great point. He fits better with like the love Ashira and the serpent Ashira, because they're weird and strange and silly. And and even fighting against somebody like Doma, where Doma is so creepy with that big smile on his face, the best way to counter that is somebody like Inosuke, who does not care, has no patience for your stupid monologues or your reasonings. He just doesn't give a shit. He's just gonna want to scrap. So I do hope we get Inosuke coming to the rescue there. And I want to see how strong he's gotten. I want to see his Zenitsu moment.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very excited to see where the last 2 movies take us, because this definitely got me back on the Demon Slayer train. I just wish it was coming out a little sooner.
Dude, 2027. There's actually not even an official release date. It's just speculated.
That movie may never drop.
Bro, we're going to be waiting for that like Spider-Verse.
Think about the world in 2027. Knicks have a chip. Giants have a chip. I thought you Christian's theory?
No, let me hear it.
So my brother Christian has a theory that the Giants win a Super Bowl every time a new Grand Theft Auto drops. So GTA 4, GTA 5, we won Super Bowls, and this is the year, he's saying, for us to win.
Holy
the next
shit,
Super Bowl.
bro.
Well, not this year, but next year. Next year will be the year for us to win a Super Bowl. So you heard it here first. Shout out Christian.
Bro, that means if GTA gets delayed again, I'm going to be upset about that, and the Giants Super Bowl being delayed. That sucks.
Trust the process.
Yeah, I guess we got to trust the plan. All right, guys, that is going to do it today for our review of Demon Slayer Infinity Castle. The Return of Akaza was the official title. Or no, Akaza returns. He will not be returning in the next one. Cam, thank you so much for joining me for this review of an anime that you were out on, but they reeled you right back in like Michael Corleone in The Godfather Part 3. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And like I said, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Love talking with you guys. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that your performance today was, I would say, on par with Teddy yesterday. So we'll keep that up in the air. It's an open competition.
Yeah, we might have to 1v1 for it.
Dude, that would actually be huge. The fans love that when we do like athletic shit.
Yeah, we can do that. We can bring it to like a debate too. We could have the Nerd Soup games.
The Nerd Suit Triathlon, debating movies and then playing one-on-one basketball. That would actually be kind of fire. Aaron's fucking specialty would be chugging dark sodas. Nobody's going to beat him with that.
At 2 a.m.
Yeah. 2 a.m. dark soda chugs. Let's fucking go. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking. Yeah, Demon Slayer. Pretty good show. What are we going to review next? I don't know.
Peacemaker.
Yeah, Peacemaker, probably.